Today I am going to discuss some mains question. So first question is discuss critically the role played by Archaeological Survey of India. So I am discussing about the Archaeological Survey of India. Archaeological Survey of India, preserving India art architecture since colonial time. So Archaeological Survey of India, that is under the Ministry of Culture. Okay, it is under the Ministry of Culture. It's a premier organization for archaeological researcher and maintenance of the ancient monuments. It maintains the ancient monuments. Plus, Archaeological Survey of India was formed in 1861, and by the statute passed into law of the Canning. So Canning passed the law, and by that it was formed, and with the Alexander Cunningham and Alexander Cunningham. Okay, so Alexander Cunningham and the Canning, and as a first archaeological surveyor to excavate the conserve the Indian ancient heritage. So, what are the work of the Archaeological Survey of India? First is the monument protection. Monument protection. So, Amsar Act. You know about the Amsar Act. So Amsar Act 1958, that is important in this regard. Second is excavations. So excavation is also done. Conservation and preservation, epigraphic and studies is also done by this, and museums is also studied with this, and publications and Cambodia like Angkor Wat in Cambodia, perhaps the most outstanding project. So Cambodia, and there is a Angkor Wat, that is the project of this. Afghanistan, like Bamiyan Buddha and the Khwaja Parsa Mosque. So Bamiyan Buddha, and that is in Afghanistan, and Saint Sufi Khwaja Abu Nasir Mosque is also there. And Nepal is a Ekpat Trimurti in Nepal. In Nepal there is a Trimurti. Okay, chariots. And Indonesia there is a Borobudur. You know about the Indonesia, and in Indonesia there is a Borobudur. Okay, this Borobudur is a extensively documented famous monument in the Indonesia. And Archaeological Survey of India is a Survey of India, that is leading to management of their recruitment process and remunerative post is also like, what is the shortcoming of the Archaeological Survey of India? One problem is the corruption. So corruption is a problem in this. Poor management in this system. Remunerative posts are given to the highly remunerative post, and their recruitment process is very major issue. Regularly awarded to external agencies of outsourcing solve the problem. And now archaeological management and leadership lacks the proper planning. So we need a proper planning we need more knowledge about the monuments and archaeology. Next question I am discussing here: how can governance pattern of the past inscribed and depicted in various art form across the Tamil Nadu and art forms around the Tamil Nadu help present administration deal with various recent issue? So the recent protest on issue of the Jallikattu. You know about the Jallikattu? So this Jallikattu issue is a recent issue, and this dispute regarding the sharing Kaveri water issue is also there in Tamil Nadu. Okay, in the Tamil Nadu. So the many issues address help to this. First is gender equality. One issue is the gender equality. Okay, second issue is the good governance. Like Thiruvalluvar and work of the Thirukural demonstrate the importance of the decentralization and avoidance of the nepotism. Like second one is the good governance. Okay. Third one is water management. Like there's lots of rivers in South India which all are disputing to each other. Kaveri river basin problems are also there. So the water management. Next one is resources management in Tamil Nadu. Like industrial clusters are there, western part and central part. So we need a industrial cluster management. International footprints means reintegrate the diplomacy, like connection with Sri Lanka, Ceylon and Southeast Asia. Next is social cohesion like Bhakti movement and festival rooted in the Urur Olcott Kuppam Vijja Carnatic music. So these traditions are also there in South India. We need to love and wisdom and with the universal practical rules for effective governance. So with that all, we can depict the inscribed depicted various art form in Tamil Nadu. I discussed what we can do in Tamil Nadu area. Now next one is in order to bring the gap between urban and rural urban and rural consciousness between past. Another trend various much visible the postmodernist poetry. So poetry, okay, poetry form in scene of methodology to present the modern predicament discuss feature of the trend. So mythic thought in fact attempt to mediate the gaps between the continuity and change and total poetry by using similar methodological situation. A broader dimension is a chaotic condition in which humanity is living today. The mythical past affirms the man relationship to the transcendent. It is has a value structure. Religious tolerance like dharma, truth has been advocated in the treaties of Mahabharata and Ramayana. So there is a Mahabharata and Ramayana, and in that we provided the truth as a feature. And in the medieval movement, Bhakti movement, we can see in the Bhakti movement also. And ancient India has evolved with the rich philosophy of religion like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, honesty, ahimsa, and the morality. And fundamental become a necessary to regain the what is world is losing. Post-independence writers were disturbed by the poverty and urban-rural inequality. So we need to curtail this urban-rural inequality in this area, and inclusive development, equitable distribution of resources is also important. And the Empress Dayanand Saraswati to greater extent. People should learn the past with the actual place of peace and harmony. So Dayanand Saraswati, like early Vedic society, classless and casteless society, egalitarian society for the women also, and that is given by the Dayanand Saraswati for the early Vedic and Vedic era. He rejected the priesthood and westernized social milieu. Religious was used extensively by many poets, like you can see. Lord Rama was idolized for being a obedient son. Many works were written preaching people to like him. After independence, there is a Western literature, English literature, which also given the vast things about the Indian culture. So these all are given as a Indian culture. Now next question is examine the contribution of women in the Bhakti movement. Women in the Bhakti movement. So see, Bhakti movement is a movement. It is a theistic movement. It is a theistic movement. Okay, it is a theistic movement. Emerged in the medieval. Hinduism and later revolutionized in the Sikhism. It originated the 7th century and South India, and that is Tamil Nadu and Kerala spread the northward. It is swept the earth and North India, and reaching to the zenith in the 15th and 17th century. It was came into the zenith. Alvar woman poet like Andal, you know about the Andal, that is from the Alvar, and she was give the expression to this love and divine love. Lal Ded is also the Muslim poetess in the Kashmir, and Habba Khatun, and one more name is there, Habba Khatun. And this Habba Khatun is also represented the tradition which are the peerless gem of the spiritual experience. Mirabai Gujarati, Rajasthani, Hindi. Avaivar is the Tamil Nadu, and Akka Devi. You know about the Avaiyar, that is in Tamil. Avaiyar, that is in Tamil. Nayanar and Alvar is also. You can say Nayanar, Alvar, and Nayanar. They are also in the Tamil Nadu. And a Muslim poet Habba Khatun. Habba Khatun is a Muslim poet. And Tamil Nadu there is a Akhama Devi, and that is in Kannada. Akhama Devi, and sheer lyrical intensity of the concentrated emotional appeal towards the Bhakti movement. Now, next writer has also I can discuss here in the Bhakti movement. Wait a minute. Yeah. So, about the lyrical poems and devotional fervor of the metaphysical depth, that is, spirit of dedication, sincerity, and this is women utilize religious emotions and alternate space. They challenge the patriarchy and the mortal men whom they were tied to relationship of marriage by the extending the definition of love and God. So it is large scale participation of the women in this movement. Mass movement is also present there, and legitimate space of the women. So first was the Meera. First was the Meerabai. So Meerabai is also in the 16th century, and which is a mystic poet and devotee of the Krishna, and she disregarded for social family conventions, and her devotion to God Krishna and her treating the Krishna as her husband, and she being a persecuted by her in-laws. Next one is the Akka Mahadevi. Akka Mahadevi was one of the early female poet that is in Kannada literature and Veer Sheva Bhakti movement, and that was a poem and which is writing called the Mantro Gopya. So that is Yogan Gangri Vidhi has considered most notable contribution to the Kannada literature. That was the Akka Mahadevi. Akka Mahadevi. Okay, and next one is Lad Devi. And that was in Lad Devi, and Lad Devi. This is Laleshwari. Laleshwari, and this Laleshwari in the 1320 in the Kashmir. She is in the Kashmir, known as a Lal Vak, and our verses are earliest composition of the Kashmiri language. Next is the Shahjo Devi. Sahjo Devi. Sahjo Devi, Sahjo Bai in the 16th century and 16th 17th century is she was also brave warrior and free oneself freer of the death. Shahjo verses are collected the Sahaj Prakash. Next is the Ganga Sati. Next is the Ganga Sati. Okay, this Ganga Sati is a poetess of the Gujarat, and she is a poetess of the Gujarat, and her compositions are oral tradition. All these are written down much later by life, and we only have some rough account of her life, Ganga Sati. And now next question is about the uh, two important intellectual criteria which inform the reform movement and rationalism and religious universalism. So reform movements, what are the reform movements for the religious reform and rationalism and rationalism. So see, there is a Aligarh movement, and now this rationalist movement first was the Aligarh movement. First was the, it's a new question. Two important intellectual criteria which inform the reform movement were rationalism and the religious universalism. So first is Aligarh movement, and there was a Syed Ahmad Khan. Syed Ahmad Khan. Okay, and he emphasizing the role of religion in the progress of society. If religion did not keep pace with and meet the demands of time, it would get falsified. That's why Akshay Kumar Dutt, you know about Akshay Kumar Dutt. So Akshay Kumar Dutt advocated the widow remarriage and opposed the polygamy and child marriage. In doing so, he was not concerned about the religious section or whether they existed. Gopal Hari Deshmukh, and popularly called the Lok Hitvadi. So next one is Gopal Hari Deshmukh. Gopal Hari Deshmukh. Gopal Hari Deshmukh, and he was called a Lok Hitvadi. Lok Hitvadi. Lok Hitvadi and Gopal Hari Deshmukh, and he was a religious reformer for made by man and was laid down the scripture and contemporary relevance. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he was also a deviate from Vedas a present demand. So like Raja Ram Mohan Roy was also a rationalist and universalism, like he favored in that. Religious universalism, Raja Ram Mohan Roy was considered different religion as a national embodiment of universal theism. He was based on the universal theism, and the Brahma Samaj was initiated, conceived by him as a universalist church. So Brahma Samaj was given by Rajaram Mohan Roy as a universalist church, and he attacked the polytheism, and he was don't believing in the polytheism, and polytheism was not believed by him, and he was a Trinitarian, Tantrikism, Christianity, and all that he was not believing that. Sir, Syed Ahmed Khan also viewed that all prophet had the same din, and every nation had a different prophets. So all have a same din, means same faith have a all prophets. That is seen by the Syed Ahmed Khan. Ramakrishna Paramhans was also known as viewed as Ram, Hari, Allah are just different ways of attaining the liberation or moksha, and essentially all represented the same truth. So, faced with the challenges colonial culture, universalism instead of providing the basis of development of secular ethos. Now, next question is, what were the concern that influenced the TOA planning in the 19th century? Town planning in the 19th century, are the some of these concerns still relevant today? So, the discussing about the town planning, sorry, it is a town planning, and that is town planning in 19th century, okay, and that was largely outcome of what is British perceived to be wash, clean and hygienic. So in that time British were there, and they were very clean and hygienic, okay. So that is they believed that Indian were unhygienic, which consequently led this segregation in town, and the white and the black towns. In these black towns lived in the Indians. So there was a black towns and there was Indian were living, and the white lived in the British or European. For easy entry of the British manufactured goods and to export Indian raw material, improvement of infrastructure. Railway was in 1853. There was a development of the railway, and between Bombay and Thane. In addition, there was a sense of racial supremacy and was sufficient excuse of segregate themselves from Indian, while their side of town used the spacious and open and neatly maintained. So open town were there, and the maintained spacious. Black town were congested, devote to any authority, keep them clean. Many of their concerns relevant today. For example, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, cleanliness, reduce the disease. It is true the resident of town city today divided basic of the wealth, and in 19th century that was the black town and the white town, okay. So now next question is, a lot of social transformation took place during the Gupta period. So I am now discussing about the Gupta period and about the social transformation, okay. So lot of social transformation was done in the Gupta period, and repercussions of which are felt even to this day. So Gupta Empire ruled over a vast area of the Indian subcontinent. So if I am talking about the Gupta Empire, so this was the area 320 to 550 AD. Okay, 320 to 550 AD. So as to trace the social development, the following: Dharma Shastra advocated the marriage with one's caste. So there was a Dharma Shastra, and in Dharma Shastra they was advocated the marriage in the one's caste and outside the Gotra. Okay, caste system become a very rigid caste system was there, and Fayan mentioned the segregation of the Chandala. So Chandalas was also living, and he was living far from the society. So that was given by the Fahian, and that time was one person came from the China, name was the Fahian, okay. Status of women become miserable. They were denied education and homemaker, and their destiny was tied to their marriage. This is majority prevalent in the rural India. Shudra were also denied the Vedic study, and atrocity against the socially backwards. Manu Smriti advocated the job assignments, and who clean the dirt is dirty. Manu Smriti was saying who clean the dirt is dirty. And there was a shift towards the Grihastra Ashram. Grihastra Ashram was for the renunciation, focus on the renunciation. People engage in production of material wealth. And untouchability, like lots of government has increasingly played a key role in this. Untouchability should be abolished. Manu Smriti suggested early marriage, and National Family Health Survey show the reduce the child marriage. Community, due to the education and wide open mindedness, have started marrying today. And today is the Mudra. You can see the Mudra scheme, and we are now Shudra were charged high rate of interest. So now today is the Mudra scheme. Like it is like today is relevance of the today also discussed. Swachh Bharat Mission, judiciary, and this is all problems which was in the Gupta period. Write a short note on the Matachari place mural. Mural of Matanjari. Matanjari. Okay. So write a short note on feature of Matanjari Palace of Mural. It is a palace of Mural. So Matanjari Palace is the Portuguese palace popularly known as a Dutch palace, and it is also known as a Dutch palace. So this is the Cochin in India, at the state of Kerala. So it is in the Cochin and Kerala. Okay, and this is palace feature the mural depicting the Hindu temple, art, portrait and Raja of Cochin. Matancheri Palace is the architectural masterpiece, showcase the blend between colonial and Kerala architecture, and it lay out the traditional of the Kerala. Naluketu is the four buildings which is a quadrangle in the temple. The painting attributed is a Veer Keral Varma. So Veera and Varma, that was a painting is there, and the mural is royal bed chamber depict the scene of Ramayana and Mahabharata, and the lower room intended to royal ladies contains the like drawings depicting the marriage Parvati with Shiva. Adjoining rooms are Krishna Leela, Shiv Leela. The south of the coronation hall, that is 6 large 18th century mural including the coronation of Rama, and coronation hall is housed like statue of the Cochin king, and coronation robes are also there. Usage of rich warm colors, tempera techniques is also there. Okay, so this is about the Matacheri palace of the mural which is in Kerala. Okay. Next is which were the event in the life of Buddha which has been depicted the different form of Buddhist art. So next question is about the Buddhist art and the Buddha Okay, and what did they event symbolize? The genesis of Buddha image. First is the genesis of the Buddha image. It is one of the most baffling issue of the Indian art. Buddha was a never depicted human form and was represented the symbol. So he represented the symbol and he do not use any the human form. Okay, so his life on the stone like footprints, people tree. So he was people tree and the footprints and the people tree, and this pass on the transmogrify to new human form. First is the conception like Maya. Maya is a queen, and Maya is a queen of the Shuddhodana has dreamed the Bodhisattva Gautam descend from the Tusita heaven. In the form of elephant requests the goat for that heaven. It approaches the Maya to enter her womb. So there was a Tusita heaven, and Bodhisattva Gautam descend from the Tusita heaven, and in this form elephant requested to the goat for that heaven, and it approaches to the Maya, enter into the womb, and that was the Shuddhodhan dream. In the queen of the Shuddhodhan, she dream in Maya in her thoughts. Okay, that is the conception. Location is the Barhut and Nagarjukonda, Gandhara art also. So three things like Barhut Stup, Barhut and Nagarjukonda, and one more thing was Gandhara. So Gandhara and Mathura arts are also there. The Kushana have extensive trade contact with the Rome, and Kushana had a contact with the Rome, and the artistic influence that came with the contact of the Mediterranean inspired robbers like Maya and her attendant. Birth, I'm discussing about the birth of the Buddha. So birth is the eve of the delivery. Maya proceed from the Kapilavastu to parent like Devdara. Maya delivered him miraculously in the garden in Lumbini. So he was born in the Lumbini, and first he was came into the Kapilavastu to her parents, and after then Lumbini located in present day southern of Nepal. So okay, so this she stood the beneath of the tree and with the right arm and clung to the branch of the support. The figure of the Buddha to be although somewhat damaged but can be seen emerging from Maya's side, and his head surrounded by the halo, and there was a halo around the Buddha, and he is received by 4 great kings, guardians of the cloth. After Buddha takes 7 steps to the proclaim he is the foremost of the world. Nagarjukonda, that is location of the Buddha, and a great departure like renunciation. So he got the his on the large limestone panel depicted two scenes of the Buddha. The lower scene was a moment of the Siddhartha, the Buddha to be secretly leave his father palace, and middle of the night of the horse like Kantaka. Her horse name is a Kantaka, and in middle of the night he left his home secretly. Four dwarfs hold up his horse, and that is depart silently. His wife, son Raul, and the dancing girl sleep peacefully. Location was the Nagarjun Konda. So Nagarjun Konda, and this Nagarjun Konda is a scene which is a region were probably inspired by influence from Rome, which is a region has contact via the coastal port. Next is the conquest of the Mara. So conquest of the Mara. So Buddha was a conquest of the Mara, and that was the attaining the enlightenment. Mara, the god desired of the patient, and tries to placate him as a fulfillment of the ambitions. And Vajrasana. Okay, Amravati and Nagarjun Konda, two palaces are there. Amravati and Nagarjun Konda, where the depiction of the conquest of the Mara is given. Enlightenment, Buddha got the enlightenment between the sitting under the Bodhi tree, and that is Bhumi Sparsha Mudra, and that was the Bhumi Sparsha Mudra. And this Bhumi Sparsha Mudra was where that was in the Bodhi tree. That was in the Bodhi tree, and that was earth witnessing his enlightenment, and that was in the Bodh Gaya. That was in the Bodh Gaya. Okay, next one is Dharma Chakra Pravartana. Dharma Chakra Pravartana is a Sarnath. So Sarnath, and there's a deer park in the Sarnath. In this place he got the first sermon of the Buddha. That was in the deer park. Buddha has the right hand on the wheel, and which is the symbol of the Buddha doctrine. By the turning the wheel, and he figuratively set the doctrine in motion and disseminate the Buddhism. Location was a Sachi and the Amravati Sarnath, and that was the Padmasana, preaching the pose. And Mahaparinirvana was a liberation from the life, and that moral coils on the speed between the salt tree of the Kushinagara. So where is the Mahaparinirvana? That was a salt tree of the Kushinagar. So this is given in the Sachi and Gandhara and the Sachi. Okay, so this shown the surrounded grieving monk and disciples at the age of 18. After eating some tainted food. He ate some tainted food, and that's why he become very sick and laid down between the two trees and symbolize his complete freedom. Okay, now next one is what? Abstraction unknown drawing. No. Next question is a discuss about the Harappan town excavated in India, reveal about the life of the people of Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so next question is about the Indus Valley civilization. So first was the urban economy. And there was a craftsmen and traders and craftsmen. Trade of the Harappa was with the Oman, and there is the evidence of trade with the Mesopotamian text. Dietary habit was wheat, barley, lentil, sesame, millets, and all that dietary habits. Architecture was like Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro, and you can see the Kalibangan and Lothal, fire altars in the Kalibangan, and warehouses, and drainage system is very good in this system. Drainage system was also very good. Polity was king was there in a political system, and standardized brick indicate the single state. Plant settlement was also there, and undeciphered script. The script is undeciphered script of the Harappan civilization. Okay, and that was right to left or left to right. The religion was a unicorn. Unicorn was there was a religious symbol, that was unicorn. Christ king and the unicorn, and Proto Shiva was also there, and Proto Shiva, Christ king, unicorn, and special ritual baths was also there. Okay, now next question is about Do Veda offer the direct evidence of social political system in Vedic era, whether ordinary or elite? Critically examine. So critically examine the Vedic era. Okay, what is the Vedic era? So Veda offer the evidence of Vedic era, that is political social aspect. The four Vedas there. First is the Rig Veda, second one is the Sam Veda, and next one is the Yajur Veda, and last one is the Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda. Okay, Atharva Veda. So it will accept that Veda are the Sukta or well said. Therefore, the Veda may be depiction of the how the society and interpreted it. So whether the society was ordinary or elite, this is we can see under the political and social evidences of the Veda. Political evidences are like existed the Brahmin who performed the rituals. Rajan were not monarchs and could maintain the army, capital, and battle were also primitive in this area. The posts were not hereditary, and Ashma Veda Yajna was also performed, like Ashwamedh Yagya was also performed in this area. Mahajanpada was also fortified. So social evidences we can say Aryan and Dasa was also there. Existence of slavery was also there. Varna system was divided between the classes, and there was a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and the Shudra. And critical examination of Veda was display about the early Vedic age, and that was different caste was also there. Now next question is about the Bhakti movement. About the Bhakti movement. So Bhakti movement during the 7th to 19th century. Okay, and this what is impact of the society. So see, Bhakti movement was the reformist movement, and that was about the Alvara. Alvara was the Lord Vishnu, follower of the Lord Vishnu, and Nayanara was the followers of the Lord Shiva. And emergence of Buddhism and Jainism, which was also critically Brahminical dominance, provoked a disbelief among the Hindu who believed a reform movement. Now they believed in the reform movement and they failed to restore the religion. It was also reactionary movement, and owing to large number of the lower caste people feeling the marginalized with the caste suppression. That's why they needed a restore their faith and religion. Some of the other enabling factors are the Gupta Empire, self-purifications increasingly become a ritual basis. Like there was a superstition, superflow of the ceremonial essence, and missionary zeals was also there. Ramanuja and Shankaracharya who spread the message of the Dvait and Advait. So Ramanuja for the Dvait and the Shankaracharya Advaitvad, both the spiritualism, mysticism and Hinduism. And Sangam movement, Sangam literature was like love and the heroism propagated in this time. It was diluted the tension between Hindu and the Muslim, and it has also positive effect on the king who later treated the subject ideal, propagated the Bhakti movement. Bhakti movement is a check the Brahminical supremacy, and it advocated the equality and oneness to all, dismantling the social caste barriers, and it could worship the god without assistance from the priestly class. And women empowerment, female goddesses were introduced, foundation of the Shakti cult. And the folk language was also traditional god promoted as a Prakrit, become a language for the worship and sermons. So this all new kinds of the things was done in the Bhakti movement. Okay. Now next topic is about the how do recent archaeological finding in Sangam literature text enlighten us about the early stage of social South India. So about the Sangam literature. Now discuss about the Sangam literary art, Sangam literary enlightenment in about the early state of South India. So see, archaeology undoubtedly is one of the most reliable means of historical study. When it comes to the archaeological discovery like paintings in the South India, so the investigation was a megalithic burial. You can see is the megalithic burial. So there was a megalithic burials, and these burial sites are deserve first mention beside giving idea about the livelihood early South India. Potteries are also there, pottery, and pottery for these burial sites are dwelling believe the life and death. So iron implements in the absence of the plowshare reveal the pastoralistic and the non-agricultural nature of the society. So there was a pastoralistic and a non-agricultural society. The Ashoka inscription mentioned the Chola Chera and Pandya. So in the South India there was a Ashoka inscription, and in that they mention about the Chola, Chera and the Pandya and the Pandyas. Okay, and distribution of the Panchmark coins and Panchmark coins, and the Panchmark coins was also distributed. Presence of north to south trade link. Virakal hero stone found in the South India, and sanctity of valor of the society indicate a possible kettle wealth is also there. Sangam text is a collection of the Tamil literary work. What is the Sangam? Sangam is a Tamil literary work. It is a Tamil and literary work, and that is historically we can say it is a South India. Sangam text is two types, like narrative and didactic. One is a narrative, and second is a didactic and the narrative. Okay, so the first category gives the rich account of the early urbanization South Kingdom. One can find the mention like the Madurai, Kachi, Urayur. So there was a Madurai and Kachi and Urayur town. The Greek Roman account also attests the truth about the Sangam literature. So Greek and Roman was also attested the Sangam literature, and urbanization, economy, foreign trade, narrative text is also presented. The didactic text of the Sangam literature deal with the ethics and polity, statecraft. They prescribe the code of conduct not only for the rulers but also who are ruled. Suggestion for the penetration of Brahminical and the social division is also verifying the influx of Brahminical. Mention the grant of the land for the solar and lunar lineage ruler. So the literary source are manipulated the favor of the patrons, and archaeological evidences enable us to reconstruct the history of the early South India. So this all about the Sangam literature. Next question is, in the absence of written script, Chalcolithic poetry gives us the fascinating insight into the culture, lifestyle of this time. So the prehistoric period, you know about the prehistoric period. Okay, this prehistoric period was a literary source of the heroism. So the most reliable source you can see here, Chalcolithic poetry. So there was a Chalcolithic poetry, and in this technique used by the poetry like red from outside and black from inside. So it is red and black from the outside, and this indicate the inverted firing technique, and they was using a firing technique. However, the later period poetry was a painted graveware. So painted graveware also they using painted graveware. Okay, the poetry of the painted graveware, and chemical know how the poetry has the geometric design and motif. There was a geometric design and the motif was also there in this painting, and limited use of the color, like people have less knowledge about that color. Lifestyle wise, the pots with a narrow neck might have a use the drinking, while large pots with a wide mouth were used for the storing the grams. The perforable jars might be used for the purpose of the make the wines, and perforated wine jars was also there. And the motif, these tales about the religious spiritual belief of the people, image of the horned deities, people tree, swastik sign, peacock, many mythological creatures was also built in the Chalcolithic pottery. And the limitations of this pottery is like cannot be used for, should not be arrived as a concrete conclusion, and further what design and motif indicate is just based on the speculations. Other source must be used for the corroboration. Alternative sources of this is a copper tool, and other artifacts are also there, and they yield grave the good and skeleton form of analytic. Now, major religious ideal ritual of the Vedic age. About the Vedic age, about the Vedic age has been always fascinating for the all aspect of the life. Like tribal people were living in the Vedic age, they are the patriarchal in the nature, and the leader was also there as a tribal leader. An idea of the kingship aroused the most of able persons, and protect the tribe, become a king. who protect the tribe, he will become the king. The king usually had a military skills, and two tribal assemblies was also function called the Sabha and the Samiti. Sabha may have been council of the tribal elders, and the Samiti may have been general assembly. So Samiti is a general assembly, Sabha is a tribal elders. So function are not known definitely, but the later period these two lost their prestige. In the king sphere, two prominent posts were prized and the commanders, a charioteer and a treasurer. The steward and the superintendent of the were also by the function. So there is a charioteer, treasurer and the superintendent. An idea of the divinity of the king, like king is a divine influencing the religious and social matters. An earlier idea of the Vedic people were primitive, and they around the control understand about the divinity and personified of the male and female gods. So personification of the male and female god was also in the Vedic era. Indra was a god and god of strength. Agni was a god of fire. Purest god was five elements supported the life. Other gods was sun to who famous for the Gayatri mantra dedicated to Soma, and the Varuna was a god of heaven. Yam god was also there and for the death, and ritual sacrifices was also there, like Hyman were revised the ritual, and big ritual sacrifices was also there. The god were believed as a participate unsealed by the human. At this time prized position reached as a zenith, and without him sacrifice could not take place. So this all about the Vedic period. Okay, so this some questions I today discussed about the history, and which is for the examination. So this some question I discussed today.